Mekatilili wa Menza was a brave woman from Kenya. She lived in the Giriama community in Kilifi County. Born around the 1840s, her birth name was Munyanzi wa Menza. She became known as Mekatilili after she gave birth to her son, Katilili. The name Mekatilili meant mother of Katilili in her Mijikenda language. She grew up in a small village called Mutara Watasu near the Sabaki River. Mekatilili had 4 brothers, Nzai, Hare, Kithi, and Mwarandu, and 1 sister. Her family was poor and life was simple but hard. One sad event shaped her early years. One of her brothers was kidnapped by Arab slave traders at a market in Kilifi. She never saw him again. This loss stayed with her and fueled her anger against injustice. Mekatilili married a man named Dieka and they lived in Langobaya. She became a widow later in life, which gave her more freedom in her community. In Giriama culture, widows could speak to elders and had some privileges. Mekatilili used this freedom to stand up for her people. During her time, the British came to Kenya. They wanted to control the land and the people. The Imperial British East Africa Company arrived in the 1880s. They built a railway from Mombasa to Lake Victoria. They took fertile land from the Giriama, forced people to work for little pay, and made them pay a heart tax. They also banned traditional practices like drinking palm wine. These actions angered Mekatilili. She saw the British eroding Giriama culture and traditions. She remembered a prophecy by a Giriama diviner named Mepoho. Mepoho had said strangers with hair like sisal fibers would come and bring suffering. Mekatilili believed the British were those strangers. By the early 1900s, Mekatilili was in her 50s and she decided to fight back. She was not a typical leader. In Giriama society, women rarely led, as it was a patrilineal community. But Mekatilili was different. She was fearless. She believed in the traditional Giriama religion. She worked with a medicine man named as Wanje wa Mwadorikola. Together, they planned to resist the British. Mekatilili used a special dance called Kifudu to gather people. Kifudu was a sacred dance usually performed at funerals, but she danced it from village to village, and her energetic dancing and powerful speeches drew crowds. People became her followers, and she spoke about the British taking their land, forcing men to work on plantations and taxing their homes. She urged the Giriama to refuse British demands. Her message was clear: protect Giriama culture and land. In 1913, Mekatilili organized a big meeting at Kayafungo, a sacred Giriama forest temple. With Wanje's help, she led an oath-taking ceremony. Men took the Fisi oath and women took the Mkushekushe oath. These oaths made people promise never to work for the British or follow their rules. The meeting gave the Giriama strength to resist. Mekatilili's actions worried the British. On August 13, 1913, a British administrator named Arthur Champion held a meeting at Chakama Kwahawe Wanje. He wanted Giriama youths to join the British Army for World War I. Mekatilili attended with a hen and chicks. She challenged Champion to take a chick from the hen. When he tried, the hen pecked him. Mekatilili said, "This is what will happen if you take our sons." Champion was humiliated. Some stories say he shot the hen and Mekatilili slapped him in anger. The British saw Mekatilili as a threat. On October 17, 1913, they arrested her and Wanje. They sent them to a prison in Kisii, over 700 kilometers away in Nyanza province. But Mekatilili was not defeated. In January 1914, she and Wanje escaped. They walked all the way back to Kilifi. Some stories say she used mysterious powers from the Kaya shrines to escape. Others say African collaborators helped her. Either way, her return amazed her people. She continued to lead the Giriama against the British. She held more meetings and encouraged her people to resist taxes, forced labor, and army recruitment. Her rebellion grew stronger. The British called it the Giriama Uprising. It lasted from 1913 to 1914. Mekatilili's leadership inspired many, especially women, to fight back. The British fought back hard. They burned Giriama homes, bombed sacred Kaya shrines, and killed people. They even burned the bodies of Giriama fighters with sheep to disrespect them. In August 1914, the British arrested Mekatilili again. This time, they sent her to Kismayu, Somalia. But she escaped again and returned to Kilifi. Her escapes made her a legend. People believed she had special powers. She became a leader in the Women's Council at the Kaya, and she continued to speak against British policies until her death. Mekatilili died in the 1920s. She died naturally in her village and was buried in Bungale, Malindi district. Her grave became a shrine. People still visit it to honor her. Her rebellion did not fully stop the British, but it weakened their control. The Giriama kept their spirit of resistance. Mekatilili's courage courage inspired other Kenyans to fight for freedom. She showed that women could lead in a time when men held most power. Her story lived on in oral traditions but was nearly forgotten until recent years. In 2010, Kenya honored Mekatilili during the first Mashujaa Days or Heroes Day. A statue was built at Uhuru Gardens in Malindi and it was renamed Mekatilili Menza Gardens. Every August, Kilifi County holds the Mekatilili Menza Festival to celebrate her life. A book called Empress of Revolt by Neema Waraka told new details about her life. A comic by the Nest Collective in 2020 showed her as a superhero. Photographers Rich Alela and Kureng Dapel reimagined her in the African Queens project. These efforts brought her story to more people. Mekatilili also became a symbol for Kenya's feminist movement in the 1980s. Activists saw her as the first Kenyan woman to fight for social change. Mekatilili's achievements were many. She led the Giriama uprising against the British and united her people with dances, speeches, and oaths. She defied patriarchal norms and showed women could be leaders. Her escapes from prison inspired hope, and she protected Giriama culture from Western influence. Her rebellion laid the groundwork for Kenya's independence movement. Even though the Giriama stayed as a small community, her legacy grew. Today, she is a national hero. Her story teaches courage, resistance, and the power of standing up for what is right. Mekatilili Menza was a true warrior for her people.